Shavua Tov. And I think for the first time in 8 months, I can say those words with conviction. Shavua Tov, a good week. Welcome to the Israel Brief. Thank you for joining our community. I'm Rolene Marks, and I bring you those top stories making headlines in Israel every Monday to Thursday, and I do it with the help of these guys, Lay of the Land. And every week I say Shavua Tov, a good week, but this weekend was so pivotal, so incredible, that there was not a single dry eye in the whole of Israel. Not the news readers, not the reporters, not the people on the beaches, and certainly not me, who sobbed like a baby when I heard the news that our exceptional forces, the IDF, the ISA, which is the Shabak, and the Israel Police Elite Counter-Terror Unit Yamam had rescued, not released, rescued 4 hostages. And this was during the extremely complex Operation Arnon. So I'm not going to go into too many details. I'm not going to go into the minute-by-minute play, because I really encourage you all to go online to read the Times of Israel. They have their military correspondent, Emmanuel Fabian, write in greater detail about this. But let's talk about the highlights of what was truly a spectacular but still very, very complicated and complex extraction mission, rescue mission. Now, some things we need to know. First of all, we saw 4 hostages come out looking good, looking stable. Of course, we don't know the intimate details. And as I said to somebody earlier this week, just because somebody looks on the surface to be good, we don't know all the details. And of course, they come out with a lot of heightened emotions, and there's still a lot that these hostages will have to absorb. What happened on the 7th of October, what has been happening for the last 8 months. So we welcome home Noah Argamani. Noah was one of the most iconic faces of the kidnappings of the 7th of October. We can't forget her face and her plea, "Please don't kill me," as she was dragged off on a motorbike by Hamas terrorists, reaching out to her boyfriend, Avinatan Or, who is still being held in captivity by Hamas. Almog Merjan Almog, whose frightened face we saw in some of the body cam footage, and Shlomi Ziv Shlomi, a married father who was working security at the Nova Festival, and Andrei Koslov, who had immigrated to Israel from St. Petersburg and was also working security detail at the Nova Festival. And to see them come home well, to see Noah reunited with her father, to see these men reunited with their families, with their loved ones, I can't even put into words the mood that Israel was in on Saturday. From the lifeguards announcing it on the beach, to people putting up posters in religious areas to notify people while not breaking Shabbat, to the spontaneous dancing that broke out outside the hospitals where they have been treated. It was just absolutely extraordinary. Of course, it also came at a price. What was called Operation Seeds of Summer was renamed Operation Arnon in honor and remembrance of Chief Inspector from the Yamam, Arnon Zora, who we believe gave his life to rescue these hostages. I just want to speak for a moment about Arnon. He was an exceptional warrior. A warrior that for me will be up there in the annals of history, along with the likes of Yoni Netanyahu, Mordechai Nalevich, and the greatest of the greats. On the 7th of October, he engaged in combat at Kibbutz Yad Mordechai, then went to Sderot, then went to Ofakim, and then on to Kibbutz Be'eri. This was somebody whose whole life was the people of Israel. And as his wife, Michal, his widow, said that before there was a chief inspector, Arnon, he was the best husband, the best partner, and the best father in the world. So what we do know is that our troops had been practicing for weeks, working with the intelligence. Apparently a new intelligence weapon was developed for this. We know that the hostages were held in 2 separate buildings, Noah in one, and the 3 men were held by what the IDF have now confirmed as a journalist for the Palestinian Chronicle by the name of Abdallah al-Jami, who has also written a few columns for Al Jazeera. They were held by him. Now, of course, we've seen backlash from the world saying that over 200 Palestinian civilians were killed to save 4 Israelis. So I'll tell you what I know for sure. What I know for sure is that civilians don't hold people hostage in their homes. And they most certainly don't go about it very quietly, because this is the Middle East. People know about these things. That very densely populated civilian areas such as Nusayrat, where everything happened, there aren't people milling around with RPGs and heavy machine guns and heavy caliber weapons to fire at our security forces as they were extracting the hostages to safety on the helicopters. Our soldiers came under very, very intense fire. They had to employ air defense. Our soldiers fought as the lions and the warriors that they are. They came under fire from absolutely all directions. If you look at some of the footage, and I really think that Operation Arnon is going to be the stuff of legend, the stuff of what we compare to Operation Entebbe. Of course, the world has criticisms, but hey, they criticized us for Operation Entebbe when we rescued Israelis off that hijacked aircraft in Uganda, where we lost Yoni Netanyahu. They criticized us when we caught Adolf Eichmann, one of the chief architects of the Holocaust, when he was caught by the Mossad in Buenos Aires and brought back to Israel for trial. But for us, the most important thing is that we will bring our hostages home. Now, there have been some criticism, some people saying, yes, but this, puts any negotiations by the wayside. It doesn't. Just a reminder, Hamas have turned down the latest proposal. Israel has accepted it. This is the proposal that was announced by President Biden. But one thing is for certain, Israel has sent the message to the world that if you take our people hostage, we are going to come after you with our finest and with our most daring operations. The operation has been lauded by the Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant. It, of course, has been condemned by countries like Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, South Africa, and Syria. With the sweet comes a little bit of bitter, and we were all heartbroken to find out yesterday that Almog Mayor Jean's father had sadly passed away overnight on Friday, just a few hours before his son was rescued by our forces. That is, rescued, Sky News and CNN, not released, not freed, rescued. Yossi Jean apparently had become a recluse, his heart absolutely broken by the fact that his son had been kidnapped, taken hostage by Hamas. He wasn't contactable. He had apparently lost a lot of weight. And when the news broke, or was broken to his family that his son was coming home, his sister raced to the house to let him know, but sadly had found him that he had passed away. His funeral was yesterday, closed to the media and to the public. And we also think of Noah Argamani's mother, Leora. Leora is battling stage 4 brain cancer. Her one wish was to see her daughter, beautiful daughter, before she passed away, and she was able to be reunited with Noah. We understand from Yaakov, Noah's father, that the meeting was very, very difficult, that Leora is not able to communicate and express herself, but he feels that she knew that Noah was there. And from further reports, we understand that Noah has now been able to spend a lot of time with her mother, review her medical care, and just be there for these final days. So we have 120 more hostages. We want all of them home now. Last night, both National Unity Party members, Benny Gantz and Gadi Eisenkot, who have both served as former chiefs of staff of the IDF, quit the emergency government. They say that it is their belief that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not acting in a way that would ensure victory. And there are concerns that there are elements of the government that are very extreme. Now, there has been a lot of criticism leveled towards the Prime Minister, first of all, by families who haven't had the happy ending that the other hostages have had this past weekend, that he only seems to visit the hostages that have happy endings, and that he is putting defeating Hamas ahead of the imperative to bring back our hostages. Gantz has also called for an election. The Prime Minister has said that the door remains open to any Zionist party that wants to join the emergency war coalition. And finally, we end the headlines with some great news, and 50,000 people took to the streets of Toronto yesterday, all shapes and sizes, I understand. They brought babies and dogs and flags and showed their support for Israel. And this is one of the largest rallies, one of the largest pro-Israel rallies since the start of the war. So Toronto, you look magnificent in your red and white and your blue and white. Time for the question of the day. Remember, guys, if you want to send me a question, please pop it in the comment section below. And it comes from Mandy in Australia. She says, does the IDF know where the hostages are? Excellent question, Mandy. I think if they do, they're keeping it as quiet as possible, understanding the very sensitivity of any kind of operation. The New York Times saying today that Hamas have orders that if they get any wind of a IDF rescue attempt, that they will kill the hostages. And the IDF is working with intelligence on the ground all the time, and we know that they were aware of the whereabouts of these 4 hostages and that they planned this operation for weeks, which shows you just how very, very complex the situation in the Gaza Strip is. So that's it from me for today, guys. Just a reminder, there will be no Israel brief on Wednesday because it is Shavuot. There will be one tomorrow. And a reminder to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online, our Facebook page at Lottle's site, our YouTube channel right here at the Israel Brief, and we're on X at Lay of the Land 5. Guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I think we're all feeling a little bit lighter and a little bit more hopeful, and I will see you again tomorrow. God bless you all.